Discouragement can creep in secretly and tell you life is not worth living. If you listen at discouragement, you will wonder if you're ever going to get out of what you're into. There are moments that try the human soul so violently and so perplexing that if the truth were told, all of us have had moments that we wanted to throw up our hands and walk away.
You've been through all kinds of stuff, and that is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of greatness. And over a period of time, God begins to bring forth his purpose. Most people get up out of the bed in the morning to see what's going to happen. And then there are a elect group of people who get up out of the bed to make something happen. You have to decide which category you're going to be in. Either you're going to get up on the bed and sit on the side of the bed and say, well, Lord, what am I going to do today? Or you're going to wake up with an agenda and an urgency and a direction and a focus. See, when you got direction, you resist distraction.
Sometimes I see people succeeding who didn't pray nearly as hard, work nearly as long, have not been faithful at all. And it seems like they seemingly have moments of victory, placed in close proximity so I could see it. Their victories are flaunted in my face, not while I am having a similar experience, but while all hell has broken loose in my life and I am going through agony and tragedy. Seemingly they are having victory and triumph. And if you're not careful, the very sight of their prosperity becomes your agony. And seeing them go forward will be a source of such continued frustration that it is not your test that baffles you, but their success agonizingly displayed before you makes you despair of life. Don't allow a moment of agony to make you draw a conclusion about life prematurely. Because if you just keep on walking with God, God has a way of making everything all right.
I think to the greater nation, I would like to say, the way you cope with that pain is by grabbing close who you have left, loving them, holding them, not taking them for granted, sending the extra note, the extra text, the extra hug, the extra kind thing. It's the lessons we learn of the brevity of life that makes life special. If we lived forever and there were no end of life, life would not be special. It is death that makes life special. And understanding that brings it into perspective where we stop wasting things like time, having love for people we don't tell them, not resolving old conflicts, having unforgiveness, are the enemies, the cancer that eat up this precious commodity that we call time. If you don't have anybody else to tell you, time will tell you. When you find out that the world doesn't work the way you thought it did, then you have to rebound. The problem is you've lost so much time along the way. And I wrote the book SOAR because I think people are having to reinvent themselves. And SOAR is about entrepreneurship largely, but it's also about refiguring your life and reevaluating ways you can move forward when somebody doesn't say yes the way you thought they would. They don't have the last say on your future. I see a lot of people in my community and elsewhere who really are working hard to make ends meet with little to work with. They're working day and night trying to make it work. Yeah. But sometimes when you make your living with your own two hands, you can't back away long enough to rethink a smarter, better approach to what you're doing. I'm living in my purpose. I am seeing the things that I envision and that I sense were my God-ordained purpose manifested in my life. And then steering through the winds and the external climates is what soaring is all about. And I'm fairly fearless when I go after something. And I say that with caution because the real truth of the matter is it's not that I don't feel fear. I don't let fear control my choices.